Okay, just bear with me for 1 second. So I got my phone in there recording. Okay, so this next card that I want to show you this evening, I won't even lie. I kind of like the silver and the sparkle and the color. So this is actually a card that I used with using some designer series paper that's in the annual catalog. The one that just had started this past June in 2022. It's going to May of next year. It's called Sun Prints, and that's this designer series paper here at the back. Kind of has a taupe color on one side, and then this beautiful Starry Sky purple on the other side. So the Starry Sky is one of the in colors that was just introduced this year. And I have a confession. Okay, so the January to June mini catalog that just expired, this little element, the silver element, was called Sprig Trinkets. And I forgot to use them in the spring. And I found them, and I saw them, and I saw this paper and thought that they would look absolutely amazing together, just because the paper is so dark and purple that I thought that the silver would really pop. So I honestly designed the whole card so that I could use these slightly retired trinkets. So if you still have some of these in your stash, go for it. They're super heavy. Like it's like I won't even lie. Like they definitely have like a little bit of a weight to it. I'd say your card is still mailable. It might be on the heavier side of mailable, but perfect for like definitely an in-person card. Okay, so to make this one, I actually didn't coordinate it with the die and stamp set that's in the catalog. So this is there's actually a whole suite that coordinates with this one. It's called the Nature's Prints Bundle, which is also gorgeous. But sometimes I like to show that, just because it's a new print in the catalog, doesn't mean that it doesn't coordinate with a stamp set that you may already own. I do own quite a bit, but you can't own everything. And this one I thought actually when I saw it, and it's a similar set in the catalog called Forever Fern that I already owned. So it's a coordinate some various sayings, as well as some leafy and berry elements. And then it has a coordinating die set called the Forever Flourishing dies. So that's the set that I put with this. And I think it actually coordinates quite nicely with the Sun Prints paper. So starting with my background, I used a 5.5 inch by 8.5 inches piece of cardstock. So that's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper cut in half at 5.5 inches. I popped a piece of the Sun Prints that's cut at 4 inches by 5.25 inches on the front. I think I mentioned that it was Starry Sky at the back, right? And then a piece of basic white cardstock on the inside so that you can actually write a message. This purple is beautiful, but maybe a little bit difficult to see pen on top of. Okay, so that's the inside. Also for the inside, I don't know about you, but when I cut a 12 by 12 piece of designer series paper, and I cut it all to this dimension. So when I cut everything by 4 inches, so I have 3 across, and then I have 2 rows, I'm left with some little scraps. And you could always use these, save them for making another card. But today I thought it would look really pretty just to glue it on the inside of the inside of the card, just to add a little extra something. You could still always stamp a sentiment above this as well. So I left a little bit of a white border there. Maybe I left a little bit more there, but anyways, just you can add a little bit less white border if you wish. Okay, so from there, in the essence of sometimes it's difficult when I'm doing it on screen here to show the die cutting. So I stamped both of these two images, the one with the berries and then the largest leaf stamp set in the stamp set. I stamped those in the Starry Sky ink and cut them out. And then these ones actually don't have a coordinating stamp set, but in the die set, I cut this larger leafy element out of vellum. So it does a little bit of a clear component to it. And then this one out of silver foil paper. Okay, so from there, and then I also used my circle, the main circle die sets in the catalog, from the annual catalog. The circle dies, each size has this coordinating kind of like a flower ripply edge. So I die cut both this so that it would layer. And I really like this to a friend that makes me smile. So again, I think it could be a just because card, it could be a birthday card, get well card, new house, any of those things. Okay, so from there, I actually took my elements and just kind of laid them out on my card where I thought I wanted them to go. Just like that. Now, what I actually did is, if you know me, I'm not a big fan of gluing everything down. It's so fiddly. So I only glued down, I left everything kind of upwards, kind of gives it a little bit of dimension too, right? Plus it's easier, right? So I wanted to make sure that everything was kind of centered where I wanted it. And then I just took and added a little bit of glue so that it would all stay in place. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is if you're someone that loves gluing more than I do, is that, I'm actually gonna take these ones off temporarily, just to make it easier. Vellum, you can see adhesive through it. So I wouldn't suggest, see, I can't talk and glue at the same time apparently. I wouldn't suggest putting an adhesive behind the vellum at the top if you can at all help it. I'm gonna add my silver. And the really nice thing is here is that because I'm essentially adding the sentiment in the circle afterwards, I can be a little bit sloppy with my glue. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if there's some kind of spilling over or anything like that. And I'm just going to layer my berries here at the end. Okay, so I did want my sentiment to pop up a little bit. So this one I actually put dimensionals behind because it's a darker background. I had some black dimensionals. You could use white dimensionals, but thought it was an opportunity to use my black ones. So I'm just going to take and pop it on the front. Because I used white glue, if I want to adjust anything still, I still can do that. It has a little bit of wiggle. And then I actually also took and popped a couple of dimensionals behind that, the big leaf, as well as behind the berry. Okay, and that's just going to keep everything down there. Next, I had some of the basic pearl jewels and took, using this, my take your pick tool, took and just like popped them on. If you haven't used this tool before, oh, it's so nice for little things like this, where I'm using the end with the little bit of sticky tack. Pops it up, press down, and it just like automatically releases. Okay, so pop that on. And then last but not least, the silver element. Now, because it's a little bit of a heavier piece, what I actually did is I took a glue dot. Now, a couple of ladies in my in-person class, so they just used like 3 glue dots, glued it down, no issues. I took and put kind of glue dot there. I'm going to put a glue dot there, and then I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow glue in between, because I kind of figure that between the Tombow glue and the glue dots, that I should be covered, right? And then I just took and kind of, so I'm just like putting glue kind of along there. I felt that the glue is kind of, might take a little bit longer to dry and hold it in place. And then the glue dots are kind of an instantaneous, but together, long-term adhesion. And that's it. So this one, once I got everything like cut using the Big Shot, came together really quite quickly. Maybe just need, like I said, because it's so heavy, just kind of holding it down for a few minutes on that edge before, so that glue really dries and holds it down. I hope you like it. So sparkly. I hope it makes someone smile. Anyways, that's it for this one. Have a wonderful evening.